Have you ever pondered the nature of reality? Is the world as we perceive it, or is there more than meets the eye? These questions might seem abstract, even daunting, but they are the very essence of our human curiosity. Think about it. Every day we navigate through life, trusting our senses to guide us. We see the sunrise, we hear the birds chirp, we taste the bitterness of coffee. But what if I told you that there's a debate, a philosophical debate, about whether this reality we experience is independent of our minds? Enter the realms of realism and anti-realism. Realism posits that an external reality exists independently of our perceptions. It's like saying the sun would still rise even if no one was there to see it. On the other hand, anti-realism argues that our cognitive structures shape the world we perceive. So, as we delve into this philosophical journey, consider your own perception of reality. Imagine a world where things exist independently of our minds. This is the core of realism. Now, let's delve a little deeper into this fascinating philosophy. Realism, in essence, is a belief system that asserts the existence of an external reality, a world that exists outside and independently of our thoughts and perceptions. It's like saying, even if no one is in the forest to hear a tree fall, the tree still falls. Realists hold fast to the idea that things continue to exist whether we perceive them or not. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly does this external reality consist of? Well, for realists, this reality is populated by a multitude of entities. Physical objects like trees, mountains, and even your favorite coffee mug, for instance, are considered to exist independently of our minds. But realism doesn't stop at physical objects. It extends to scientific laws and mathematical truths as well. The law of gravity, for instance, exists and operates independently of whether we are aware of it or not. If you drop an apple, it falls to the ground, irrespective of your knowledge or ignorance of gravity's pull. Similarly, mathematical truths are considered to be part of this independent reality. The statement 2 + 2 = 4 holds true, regardless of whether anyone knows, understands, or acknowledges it. Realism, therefore, presents us with a robust and independent universe, one that exists outside our minds and operates according to its own laws and principles. It proposes that our role as human beings is not to create or shape this reality, but to discover and understand it. In essence, realism holds that our perceptions are merely windows to the actual world. We are not the creators of this world, but merely observers, trying to make sense of the marvels that unfold before our eyes. Remember, according to realism, reality is out there, unchanging and independent, waiting for us to discover it. Now let's flip the coin. What if our perceptions shape the world around us? This is the heart of anti-realism. Anti-realism is a philosophy that challenges the very idea of an objective reality existing independently of our minds. It's not just about saying, I think, therefore I am. Rather, it's about saying, I perceive, therefore it is. Imagine a world where truth is not a fixed star in the sky, but rather a chameleon, changing its color based on who is looking at it. This is the relativity of truth, a cornerstone of anti-realism. It suggests that what we consider to be true is shaped by our individual perceptions and experiences. Consider this: two people can witness the same event, yet have different interpretations of what occurred. This doesn't necessarily mean one is right and the other is wrong. It simply reflects the fact that we all perceive the world through our own unique lens. Now let's delve a bit deeper. Think about the influence of culture on our perception. Our cultural background shapes the way we see and understand the world. It provides a framework that guides our thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors. In other words, our view of reality is tinted by the cultural glasses we wear. And let's not forget about language, the very tool we use to describe and make sense of the world. Language doesn't just reflect reality, it shapes it. The words we use, the metaphors we choose, they all contribute to constructing the reality we live in. So, in anti-realism, our minds are not passive observers, simply recording the world as it is. Instead, our minds are active participants, shaping and molding the world we experience. In anti-realism, our minds are not just windows, but architects of the world. Scene script. Realism and anti-realism, two opposing views of reality. How do they compare? Let's start with realism. The realists, like the Stoic philosophers of ancient Greece or the modern physicists, stand firm on the belief that an independent, objective reality exists out there. They argue that this reality is not influenced or shaped by our perceptions. To put it simply, whether we perceive a mountain or not, it's there, towering with its majestic peaks. It doesn't disappear when we close our eyes or change shape based on our thoughts. On the other hand, we have anti-realism. This perspective emphasizes the role of perception in shaping our reality. The anti-realists, like the postmodern philosophers, argue that our understanding of reality is constructed by our cognitive structures and perceptions. So, in essence, the mountain's existence is tied to our perception of it. If we don't perceive it, does it exist at all? It's a bit like the age-old question. If a tree falls in a forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? The key difference between these two philosophical viewpoints lies in their approach to understanding reality. Realism asserts that there's a world out there, independent of us, waiting to be discovered. Anti-realism, on the other hand, argues that reality is not a fixed, objective entity, but is instead constructed by our perceptions and interpretations. But don't let these differences fool you into thinking these viewpoints are worlds apart. They both grapple with the same fundamental question. What is reality? They both strive to unravel the mysteries of existence, albeit from different angles. One might argue that these contrasting viewpoints actually enrich our understanding of reality rather than limit it. So whether you lean towards the realist perspective or find yourself nodding along with the anti-realists, remember that both these viewpoints are part of a larger conversation, a conversation that has been ongoing for centuries and will likely continue for many more. While realism and anti-realism are distinct, they both strive to answer the same question. What is reality? So where do we stand in this philosophical debate? We've delved deep into the realms of realism and anti-realism. We've seen that realism in its simplest form holds that an external reality exists independently of our perceptions. The world, according to realism, is not a figment of our imagination, but a tangible entity that remains constant, irrespective of our cognitive structures. On the other hand, anti-realism counters this very notion. It suggests that our perception of reality is intrinsically tied to our cognitive structures. In other words, reality isn't an independent entity, rather it's a product of our minds. It's a fascinating debate that has intrigued philosophers for centuries, and the beauty of it lies in its subjectivity. There's no right or wrong side, it's all about perspective. Whether you lean towards realism or anti-realism, remember, the quest to understand reality is a journey, not a destination. Thank you for joining us on this philosophical adventure. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content.